All right. Hello and welcome to our very first Women of DECA online meetup. Women of DECA is all about women thriving in the digital economy. It's also powered by Women in Digital Economy and all things blockchain, which I won't go into too much detail, but Women in Digital Economy is my project, which is leading a mentorship program for women wanting to enter in the space. And All Things Blockchain is a local meetup group that started in Brisbane. So we host large events in Brisbane. If you're not a part of that community, please join it because we hybrid all of our events. So they're all live streamed. And then we also do a series of collaborations and we also do AMAs. So you don't have to live in Brisbane to be a part of the All Things Blockchain community. So if you're not already a part of that, I highly suggest. As I said, we've got the Binance event tomorrow, and we did one with Coinbase with their Stand with Crypto event series a couple of days ago. So very, very active and lots of going on. And today is led by Women of DECA, which I will talk to you about. Let's go to the next slide. The agenda, I'm just going to go quick intro overview of what is DECA and what is Women of DECA, what's the purpose of today's event. Then I'm also going to give you some updates of some future upcoming events. We're going to jump into a quick fireside chat. Today, we're going to be doing that with Rachel Jones, who's the operations lead at AUDD. And every month when we do this event, so I'm doing it on a 3-month trial basis, we'll see how 3 months from now, how much kind of engagement we're getting. And hopefully each month it will continue to grow and we'll do it once a month. But we'll have a different fireside chat with somebody that's smashing goals in the space. Then I have a little networking game. It is a game that I have played for years in kind of business development and growth programs. And it's a great way of getting to know each other and supporting each other. And then we'll do a little Q&A and wrap up. So what is DECA? If you have been in Australia for a while, you've probably heard of Blockchain Australia. And if you didn't know, Blockchain Australia rebranded to Digital Economy Council of Australia so that it can umbrella all kind of emerging tech and not just blockchain technology. Blockchain technology definitely is driving a lot of the Web3 ecosystem and emerging technology, but I wanted to broaden. So Women of DECA is a working group within DECA. So we're all members. So it's community driven. It's a community membership. You can become a member of Digital Economy Council of Australia, like if you're a business and as a community member, like I'm just as a community member, not as a business. And then the whole purpose of this particular group is to foster inclusion, invite more people in, education, leadership, and basically kind of creating a place where they can network and provide mentorship and growth opportunities in the digital economy, specifically within the Australian ecosystem. How can you get involved if you're watching this recording or you're on this call? The best way that you can get involved is you can become, in order to be a part of DECA, the women's group, you do have to be a member of DECA, but you don't have to be a part of DECA to be a part of our community activations such as this one and other community events that we will host. You can still kind of be a part. But if you want, you can scan more information. You can go to the DECA website, go and check out their working groups. They have other working groups that you might be interested in. I know Rachel's in young professionals. So yeah, if you want to get involved, go ahead and check out some more information. Otherwise, you can just stay up to date with the community and participate. We'll be doing a series of different event activations, both online and in person. Who am I? If you haven't met me, I know quite a few of you on the call know who I am. For those of you that you don't or who are watching the recording, my name is Danielle Marie. I wear a few different hats in this space and have done as I've kind of continuously grown in the space from getting in it in early 2018. So I'm the events lead for Women of DECA. Hence, I'm leading this event today. I founded Women in Digital Economy last year and just kind of started building it. But this year is my primary focus, and that's launching a mentorship program for women to either learn about if they want to learn how to invest and where to start, like giving them a roadmap, or if they want to transition into their career, how can I help them? So either way, I design and basically help them a roadmap for entering in the space. Founder of All Things Blockchain in 2020. I've already told you about that. We host networking events. It's a nonprofit association. CXO Fractal, so that's what's taking me travel. We host events at all the major crypto and fintech conferences over in the world. So starting off with Hong Kong and then off to East Denver. So active community builder in Australia. And the one thing that I'm super proud of is my Diversity and Inclusion Leader Year Award from DECA last year. And so really working to make sure that I uphold that status of that award in 2025. If you want want to connect with me, go ahead. All my socials are there. So what is the purpose of this event and DECA in general? We hosted an event at the Australian Crypto Convention that was in November, and it was a great turnout. It was a great event. And one of the things that I really got to hear from some of the women that were from different regions, because I'm in Brisbane and we have a very active community in Brisbane because we're the ones that drive it, that not a lot of people, in particular women, had access and wanted to connect with more women in the space. So I thought, well, doing it online could be a way to do that. Let's see how we go. We tend to have lower kind of turnout rates with online events, but it is a way to connect and empower and inspire more women to come into the space. And then these particular events are about creating a space place for networking. And that's where the networking game will come into play. And I'm excited to get some of your feedback because obviously it will be the first one. We did it at the live event and I got good feedback, but I'd love to hear some of your guys' feedback on how you find that kind of networking game that we're going to play and basically just kind of create a support system, more women to enter in this space, and having gentlemen such as Tarek being there to kind of support. We have lots of allies in this space that we just also need to kind of help us encourage more women to enter in the space. Upcoming events, start of March, International Women's Day. We always, for all things blockchain, March is always theme and International Women's Day. So we've got an event that we are doing at the precinct. So if you want to go ahead and sign up for that, that will also be a hybrid event. So you can participate online. Now, DECA has a lot of events coming up. So I just took a screenshot to give you a snapshot, okay, of the different types of events. And if you scan that QR code, that's going to take you to the DECA website. The biggest ones that I would like to note is the Digital Economy Conference, which used to be known as Blockchain Week, which will be in the Gold Coast this year. If you're into, that's kind of more generic and kind of more broad. If you're into policy, then yeah, definitely recommend you check out that policy forum. But I won't be there, but I'll be at the Digital Economy Conference. And then, yeah, lastly, this series, you're here. I'm going to keep doing this on the first Monday of the month for the next 3 months and kind of see what interaction that we get. So if you are watching this recording and you want to join the next one, please do. If you're on the call and you enjoyed it, please come again because there's always going to be a different fireside chat and there's always going to be different people to hopefully meet, unless it's always the same people that come on the call. Then that would just get a little bit weird because we wouldn't be meeting anybody new. But hopefully that won't be the case, and spread the word for us because it is new. So we want more people to come in. We will come back to this networking game, but first we're going to meet Rachel Jones officially, who has just taken a new role. So congratulations as the operations lead for AUDD, because I know how hard she worked. Before I pass it over to Rachel to kind of introduce herself. So she was one of my students. I used to be the head blockchain trainer for TAFE Queensland and delivered the diploma of Applied Blockchain. And she just moved to Brisbane and she had enrolled and she was very proactive and got into the community and did all of the things and was actively, striving for a job in the Web3 space, which you finally have achieved. So congratulations. And I'm excited for you to share that story with the people on today's call and also introducing yourself. Just share a little bit about your journey and like, when did you get into crypto and how did you get into crypto? How did you end up kind of getting to where you are now?
Thank you for the intro. It's always fun because I know you so well to be introed. It's quite fun. I always love this question because I think that everyone has their own story with coming into crypto, but everyone has the same kind of thread, which is that you pulled one string and then you went down this rabbit hole and then you're here many years later. Or you just never left. Like, even if you're new, you're like, this is the future. So for me, that was when I was in university and I was doing my master's. I was working at an investments firm, the largest in New Zealand at the time. I think the super might have beat them out at the moment. But my flatmate was getting really crazy in crypto. And so I just went down this rabbit hole of being like, you're wrong. And in the process of proving them. And so basically since then I've been really attracted to the space and I just saw the long-term value thesis to it. And so I ended up finishing my master's, doing it on my final on valuing Bitcoin as an asset class. And so that was really my intro into the space. But then I went overseas. So I'm actually, you might be able to tell I'm a Kiwi. I'm not from Australia. And so I went overseas and then I moved to Australia. And Australia is really the kind of beginnings of my true Web3 journey in many respects, and that it kind of transitioned out of just being online and feeling quite fringe. And I did feel very fringe because when I was working in traditional finance, I was a pretty vocal person, like I'm a fairly confident person. So I talked to my opinions, and pretty much everyone I interacted with thought I was wrong, or was missing the point, or couldn't see the value in what I had to say. And so when I came to Brisbane, I really came with this idea that I wanted to work in the space and that I wanted to meet people in real life who had the same kind of values and kind of view of the world and could see what I could see. And so that brought me to signing up for TAFE, and that's where I met Danielle. I would say that was, if you think about life and kind of all these different bumps they can take, all these different turns, that was definitely a turning point from a career standpoint. Part of that is luck, like being in the right place at the right time. Then another part of that is just saying yes to everything. So I think Danielle said, oh, there is a in real life meetup with Algorand. And so I went along to that first meetup in real life. And then I love volunteering as well. So, and I've got a lot of energy. So as soon as I could find a way to help contribute to the space, and to give a bit more context, when I was in my undergrad and my whole like high school career and stuff like that, I was always taking. So I joined a lot of committees, I was part of a lot of things, but I really felt the stage of my life, I was like, I really want to give back as well. And so Danielle was running all things blockchain. And I just had so much happiness being an international person, even though I'm from New Zealand. You still come to a place and you don't know anyone. And All Things Blockchain was a really vibrant and extremely welcoming community. So all the things kind of fell into place, and there was a bit of luck involved as well. Yeah, so that's kind of my journey from why I got into it originally, and then how I kind of built myself in Brisbane and in Australia, which is quite different from what I was doing initially, which was just all online.
Yeah. And so then, I know that so that's kind of how you kind of got into the crypto space, and you said yes to everything. And I sent a lot of things your way. For those of you, a little bit more context with my students, I give them all that opportunity. Some of them think that they're going to turn up, do a diploma of applied blockchain with TAFE and then get a job at the end, but like not go to any meetups, not put their hand up, not volunteer, not whatever. So the way that you grow in the space, and one of this is being active. And that can be in various different ways. That can be online, that can be in person.
That was a particular appeal, partly, so I've done a lot of study in my life and I really love study. And so when I came to do the TAFE course, I was a bit skeptical. But then when I met Danielle and it was so practical, I was like, this is for me. And then there was that emphasis on let's put it into the real world, like let's build. And that is a real high, that's kind of where I talk to the luck, right? Like I was myself sure, but at the same time, like Danielle said, she invited me and pushed me forward for opportunities that you have to be a bit lucky to kind of be in the right time, right place for.
I don't think you need to be lucky. I say thing quite often. I say to people, I don't know how this happens. I was like, for example, like in this new role that I have, I just ended up like landing like 3 gaming sponsors. I'm like, that's really weird. And I'm like, no, I created that. So I hosted an event at Token 49, which was gaming. And it's like, so you created the space. You came here with an intention. When I say here, you came to Australia with an intention, and your intention was to get a job and work in the space. So you actively did that. So you could say that you were lucky, but you just put yourself out there, and then you just met somebody that, that challenged you, and and then you took up on that challenge. So I think that for anybody that's listening to the call, you got to get out there. You've got to be active. You've got to put your hand up. So well done for that, because that led you to where you are now. And like, I know that you are active with All Things Blockchain, and you're in that part of the community, and you're actively kind of looking for the right fit for you, because the Web3 space is very big industry, right? So half of my mentorship program, the process will be for people, one, when they come through it, identifying their current skill sets and what they're currently doing, what do they want to do, and then like, what's transferable, you want to learn a completely new skill, you want to be a master of AI automations, and okay, great, like here's a pathway to going to achieve that. So I know that you were looking for the right role, right? It's not like you were just out there applying for a million jobs. And before the role that you have now with AUDD, which I want you to tell everyone about in just a second, in your role and how you got the job there and what you do. But before, you were a data analyst, and then you moved to a business analyst. So still in software development, kind of still in that tech space, a lot of the terminology and things that we talk about in the course, the scope document, user stories, functional requirements, all kind of transferable kind of into depending on what you're going to do in the Web3 space. my question is to you, what is the role that you're doing now? And like, why did you kind of wait to find that particular role within the Web3 industry? Because you could have probably found any job in the Web3 industry, but you waited to find something that would suit you.
I like to think I could have found anything. I do think that I did luck upon something that was a combination of what I'm really good at and what I really enjoy. Finding that was it definitely was a process. Like, I have done so many different jobs in my admittedly not that long career, but each job I've had have kind of like built upon or been a different aspect. So to talk in examples, because I'm a bit of a practical person, so one of my jobs that I had was data analyst, and I specifically got that job to further my skills in data analytics and Excel and all of that kind of like statistical modeling. And in the process of doing that, I found out that while I can do it, I don't necessarily love it. Like, I don't want it to be my 9 to 5 single day. And so the next job I found, which was only a year afterwards, was a business analyst role. And then that found a bit more of the sweet spot for me, which was that communication with client, and then also using my brain and like doing all of the things that I really enjoy doing, which was the detail. And like, I've had a number of jobs which have kind of come from a similar place, but are actually quite distinctive in terms of what you do for day to day and how you can contribute to the business. And then with this current role, I feel like I really, through my other roles that I've had, I keep looking for things that really talk to my strengths. So for me, I find that the detail every single day, while I can do it, is quite challenging. And so I was looking for something that's a bit more dynamic. And then the other aspect to a crypto job is that, as you all know, the industry is filled with a lot of variation in terms of the quality of projects. And so being in Australia, I think there is a bit of an advantage there. Like, I think our projects on the ground are amazing. And so there is something to just going to the meetups, because yeah, the amount of people I've known in the space who found jobs through meetups is quite a large number. And so that is because the caliber of the projects, of course, and also the talent coming to these meetups and the connections that you build. But the interesting thing about crypto, and the thing that I really recognized when I was like living in Asia, was that crypto is not a large part of working in this industry, and all industries, but in particular this industry, is that it is very small. And so you don't have to necessarily prove your skills, but you also have to prove your character. And so through being in this space, you can kind of prove who you are, prove what you stand for. And then through that as well, of course, articulate your hard skills as well. But for me, I really found it was kind of through being in this space a long time, even through like a bear market, bull market, kind of keeping that consistency is quite important as well. Yeah, I kind of lost a thread there towards the end. I got a bit of
That's okay. We'll get back on track because we're going to switch over to the networking game in a second. But I do want to just a few quick things before we wrap it up. So with AUDD, can you just give everyone a little bit of a rundown on what is AUDD, so that they can understand the space that because you've just gone from a business analyst role to working with AUDD. What is that? And then before we move into the chat, I'm going to ask if you have any tips for any of the listeners. So
I should preface this as well, is that even while I was working in traditional industry, I was still furthering my skills in Web3. So I was contributing to papers, and I was thinking, and I was engaging, and I was having conversations.
And being active, showing up to all the meetups.
Yeah. So there is a direct translation of skills as well. But the project that I'm working for is amazing. So it's an Australian-based stablecoin. And I don't know how familiar with you guys all are with basically stable coins, but what I'm working on is like a one-to-one representation of the Australian dollar. You can think of it as being similar to like USDT or USDC. And it is an amazing project, partly because it's Australian born and bred. And I think that there is a real advantage in terms of a practical advantage, not having the FX risk, and also having everything onshore that is available with the Australian dollar. And there's quite a big opportunity in the market for utility with stable coins. In fact, I think that Circle which is USDC, has basically done the most amount was something astronomical in terms of processing power. So what I'm trying to do today is help disrupt some of that American dollar supremacy in the stablecoin market, and also give a lot of utility to Australians and people, especially in the Asia Pacific region. I would say anti-risk exposure of the US dollar. And of course, Again, it's hard to tell the nature of my audience, but I'm sure a lot of people know the advantages of stablecoins, so I kind of won't delve into that too much.
We won't go into an education piece. It's supposed to be a fireside chat, but it's hard to not want to go down some of those rabbit holes sometimes.
I know. I was like, I just want to talk about it, but
We can always do, and I want to learn more about where you guys are at in the progress. When is, stable coins, like, when are they going to be listed on exchanges and all that. So we'll definitely have to do a follow-up call, and we can invite Effie and some of the other crew as well. But we'll stay on task for the mindful of time because I want to get into the networking game. But before we jump into the networking game, anybody that is on this call, anybody that is new into the space, anybody watching the recording is like, okay, I want to learn more about this space because I want to invest, or maybe they've been investing for a little bit and they want to kind of transition into a career. What's your advice to both of those people?
My personal advice is about old-fashioned, but you can't meet in real life. Like, I love online, and obviously I'm here tonight, and a lot of my meetups are online. But translating that, so following up on it. So, for example, tonight you're going to be in all of these networking events and things like that. Flick a message. Like, I think that's the danger or risk of online meetups is that you don't follow through. So probably my advice would be, if it's online, follow through and follow up. If it's in person, consistent. It's short and sweet advice because I want to meet everyone.
Well, thank you so much. What we'll do is we're going to jump into our networking game. But anybody that has any questions for Rachel, say they're sitting there and they're just burning and they have a burning question, please make sure that you write it down so that you don't forget it. And I want to do a Q&A and breakdown afterwards. And then people that are on a hard time, then they can go, and people that want to stay, they can stay. But I want to get the networking game in. So I see that while we've been chatting from the time that we started, we had a few new people, Renee and Chris. Fauna, if I'm pronouncing it right. And I think the rest of you in the bio, I said hi. Perfect. Okay, so this is my first time playing this game online, and we're going to do it with breakout rooms. So I'm going to break you into small groups. Ideally, it's 3. I'm going to see. And then in that, each group gets 2 minutes per person. So you get 6 minutes. Okay. So you'll be in the breakout room for 6 minutes before I bring you back into the main room. In that, one person answers the 3 questions. So what you do now for work, or what do you want to do? What support do you need? And then lastly, how can we help? So it might be that you have a business and you need new customers and you just want somebody to, share your link. It might be you want to learn about the diploma. You don't know where to start. So just sharing. So you answer those 3 questions. So the idea is that you already have the questions. So each person is answering those and you have 2 minutes per person. So 6 minutes will be in the breakout rooms.